All right, I think we're live. Thanks everyone to join another XAFer community stand-up. The topic of today is multi-tenancy. We were actually planning to do a meetup on load balancing, but we're moving that one to January. I think this one actually makes perfect sense now that the multi-tenancy model was just released. I'm really excited to have here Dennis, the XAF project manager, that he will cover multi-tenancy model, but also all the great things that are coming in 23.2. So really excited about the beta. We have been playing with it. Really got a lot of new things there that I think that everyone will appreciate. Context menu, that one thing that we wanted to have as well. So as always, before we start, join our Facebook group. I was checking today and we are 3,000, almost 400 members. Let's check. Where is the second? 3,400. So I'm really happy and excited about that. The group is really helpful for everyone who wants to ask questions or just basically share their experience. One of the things that we want to do for next meetup is come back to the UI from XAF. Basically, everyone who has a really nice customized UI, put a screenshot there, and we'll, again, document that and have them for everyone who is starting and have those questions. Join our LinkedIn page. Follow XAF on Twitter. All the new things are coming there. If you see new docs, everything that we have in there. We're going to be talking a lot about Linux in our load balancing. Hoche will do a complete example of using NGX and Apache and so on. And basically, as always, Hoche, Dave, Dennis, you can introduce yourself for everyone who is starting in XAF and watching this for the first time. But after that, we'll get right away, and Dennis will start showing us everything that is coming.
Okay, I guess I start. My name is Ocho Ojeda. I work for Bitframe Ansari. I'm a DevEx President VP, and basically what we do is XAF and XPO, still XPO 24/7. Dave?
Yeah, thanks. Dave from Llama Chat Technology, also a DevEx President MVP. Yeah, still loving XPO. As we use XAF, we are venturing into the entity framework side as well. A little bit. So yeah, that's us.
Hello everyone. My name is Dennis. I'm a product manager for XAF, VCL, .NET, and other teams at DevExpress.
Perfect. All right, I think that we'll jump right on it, Dennis. So let me stop sharing my screen and let's give you the show.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Please tell me when you can see anything.
We can.
Okay, perfect. So today I wanted to briefly introduce our newest addition to our XAF framework. It's the multi-tenancy module, which is available in 23.2 release. And I highly recommend you to check out our What's New page if you haven't checked it already, because it describes all the new features which are coming to XAF, to Blazor, WinForms component, .NET MAUI components, and everything DevExpress delivers. So let's skip the rest features for a moment and focus on multi-tenancy model. I want to start with our motivation for this module. I think that many of you remember that we have multiple examples in our support center and GitHub, which demonstrate how one can, for example, have a single XAF application connected to multiple databases. For example, one popular example shows how you can do this. For example, you can select a company on the logon form, then you can select a required user, type a password, and voila, you can log in as this user. You can even, another example shows how you can change your current organization from inside the application. And over the years, we found out that we have sufficient demand from our users, from our customers, for these sort of scenarios, and our motivation was to provide a simpler solution than the one we were offering in our examples. I mean, by simple, I mean ideally we dreamed of making it like a one-click option in solution wizard, or at least some settings can be configured in with attributes with some with just a few code lines. And in 23.2 version, we provided automation, at least for some most requested scenarios. And I will briefly go to Visual Studio, and there I will show the XAF solution wizard. Here on the left, you can see our template gallery item. So I choose XAF. Let me move this thing a bit. I choose XAF. I click Create. Then we can see it's defaulted to .NET. We also have .NET Framework, and it's important to know that our multi-tenancy module is available only for .NET 6 and above. So it's not available for .NET Framework applications like web forms. So I click Run. And here you can see a funnel screen where you can select your platforms. So I will stop here for a moment to describe the options we supported in the current release. As I said, we focused on .NET applications, and in this release we focused on WinForms and Blazor applications. So if you select those in the wizard, then you can go next. You can select your ORM of preference, like, for example, XPO. And then you can see this checkmark, which actually one-click solution I was talking about. If we the same, of course, it's available for Entity Framework. If we return back to the first screen, you can also select, for example, our web API service. And this module, multi-tenancy module, is not available for this configuration, at least in the current release. So we can see that the multi-tenancy checkmark is missing. Also, for example, if you select WinForms applications and you are you will enable middle tier security, you can see that this option is also disabled for this release. Both disabled options, web API service and middle tier security, it's still a part of our long-term vision for multi-tenancy model, and we'll hopefully return back to them for the future, in the future. Okay, let me select WinForms and Blazor. Let's select XPO. Multi-tenancy is available. Click Next. Security is enabled. click finish. So the solution wizard will create all the required infrastructure for our first multi-tenancy application. And I will stop on a few files just to demonstrate what our solution wizard does. So we can see that it's really just a few lines as we hoped in the very beginning. So you can see that solution wizard adds specific methods like add multi-tenancy and also some configuration, which I will discuss later. Basically, that's the main aspects of what wizard does. All the rest is transparent to XAF developers, and it's a part of our built-in model. So we don't want to load you with a lot of details. Okay, let's return to my presentation and talk a little bit more about what's included. As I mentioned, we support both Entity Framework and XPO. I want to emphasize that XPO is supported because you remember that in the first preview version in 23.1, we had only the Entity Framework core. So XPO is also supported, it's not forgotten. So everything is okay. We also intentionally focused on the most popular and straightforward scenarios in the first release. So don't expect fancy and advanced things to operate with our multi-tenancy model yet. We just wanted to build a small but sufficient scope of features and make sure that they're all working properly together. As I said, we don't yet support middle-tier security for WinForms clients and also no web API service. Also, I want to emphasize that when it comes to scalability, for example, for XAF Blazor applications, it's the same as it was in 23.1. So nothing changes in this regard in 23.2. Also, we intentionally limited the scope to the most popular configuration. It's when a tenant stores its data in a separate database. As you remember, there are scenarios when, for example, you have a huge shared database and all tenants storing their data. We left this scenario for the future and we'll monitor user preferences in that. Also, it's important to know that for now, we don't allow tenants to have client-specific modules or a set of business classes or a set of custom fields for those business classes. This is also a part of our long-term vision for this model, and we will also look at user feedback when considering further enhancements. It's also important to talk about licensing, because you remember that when preview version was available, we talked about client access licenses. We consider them. No decision has been made for this in 23.2, and you can still use this model with your universal subscription. Again, we are looking forward to customer feedback on this model and licensing in particular, so feel free to share your thoughts. And a usual disclaimer that everything is subject to change in the future. So what else? now I think I should return to Visual Studio and continue my demo. Let me move this here. First, I want to start with product documentation. Here. I want to emphasize that if you check our documentation today, when 23.2 is not yet released, you must explicitly select this version because it's defaulted to 23.1 at least today. And if you select 23.2, you can see this topic, and it describes the architecture of our module. You can see nice schemas, additional information on how things work inside. You can see some API references, some examples. Also, you can see getting started topics like how to create your first multi-tenancy application, which is basically what I demonstrated a few minutes ago. You can also see articles that show how to convert your existing application. I mean, if you, for example, started building this XAF like 5 years ago, so we describe which new packages to use and additional steps, changes in startup.cs, etc. Also, you can find some helpful topics on typical tasks like understanding the current tenant in code, in criteria expressions. So, and also some comments about module support and some limitations and best practices. So I definitely recommend you get started with this documentation. And then we also built a demo application, which is available on GitHub. You can see this 23.2 branch. And if you download this demo application, you can play with our multi-tenancy module inside your Visual Studio. That's actually what I'm planning to do quickly. I already downloaded this application, so it's already opened, and as you can see, it's just regular XAF solution with Blazor and WinForms, and also a shared module for some business objects, for some controllers. So nothing new here. And I will focus the rest of my presentation on the Blazor side of things, and will demonstrate some of the features of this new module. So fasten your belts. I hope it will start, because I remember during Zoom presentations, sometimes Visual Studio Debugger takes a long time to start the application. Let's hope it doesn't happen today. Jose, maybe any questions? Quick questions for now, while it loads.
Yeah, no, we don't have any questions right now. But like the documentation, we went through it, and it's pretty straightforward. Create a new multi-tenant application. Right now, it's just check the multi-tenant checkbox, run the application for the host, and by default, it already the updater gives you the two companies and user, and log in with the other one, and voila, you're good to go. It's really nice.
Yeah, thank you. I think we hit this known Zoom issue, and
But
I think I
the interesting thing is, like, we have done a lot of Zoom presentations, and there is something in the latest version of Zoom or something, because we also lately, every time we're trying to do anything, Zoom takes forever. You close Zoom and Visual Studio right away. It's really fast.
yeah. I wanted just to stop my presentation and maybe just preload the application in Visual Studio, not to force people to wait for a long time. So let me do this quickly.
Sure.
And hopefully it works. Okay, let me know.
So we do have a question just right now in the chat, Dennis. It says, could it be possible to have an administrator that could move between different tenants?
Right now, every administrator of a tenant, it exists only in this tenant. I mean, currently all tenants are isolated, so it's not currently possible. And I will return to this point in my presentation a bit later. I have some comments about it. Okay, so yeah, it's definitely a Zoom issue because it loaded instantly now. Let me share my screen again. And please tell me when you can see anything.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. So I just started the Blazor application, and by default, exactly as in Solution Wizard, it creates a login form, and it offers you to log in as administrator. And when you use our multi-tenancy module, we have some naming convention by default that all tenant users, they must log in with their email, like company.com. And this naming convention, it helps the module to automatically resolve required tenant. When you don't use email, you can log in as a super administrator and manage the host part of our multi-tenancy module. I mean, the host part, it can create actual tenants. So here you can see actually this host UI, it's a typical XF application, just limited to only two functions. Is to create super administrators. Here you can see one, it's admin, and the second function is to create tenants. And here you can see two predefined tenants, company 1, company 2, and currently it has only two settings. So it's name or domain, which is also used in email, and the connection string. You can see that connection string just differs by one digit. So that's the main purpose of this host UI. This host UI currently doesn't have additional modules like reporting, I don't know, dashboards, etc. So we intentionally kept things simple at this stage. Now, the interesting part. We have tenants. Now we want to have administrators for each tenant. And Solution Wizard by default creates those administrators using a similar naming convention. Let me log off and I will show you. So as you remember, we have a tenant called company1.com, and we have a predefined administrator admin. So I just log in as. Again, for simplicity, you may have noticed that we have in this demo we have empty passwords. So please never use this in production and real applications. You must, of course, change your passwords for super administrator and tenant administrators. So this is a demo that we built in this release. It's this UI is UI for, as I said, for tenant administrators. So tenant administrators can have access to, for example, roles, security roles. We have like 10 here or so, and also we have like, I don't know, like 100 of users for this tenant. And as far as XAF is concerned, this tenant application is just standard regular XAF application. So it has all the modules, it has reporting, security, conditional appearance, validation, whatever. So everything is standard as in a single tenant application. I will just briefly go through some items to show you that it's true. So it's nothing special. So you can see in this view. What else? I'm sorry for that it opens slowly, because again it's Zoom issue, and also I'm running all the preview versions of Visual Studio, .NET, and DirectExpress, so it might take a while under debugger in this Zoom setup. Yeah, I think we hit something here. Anyway, you can trust me that it's a regular XAF application. It's nothing special here, and I recommend you checking this demo application regardless of multi-tenancy anyway, because this is a Blazor and WinForms application with a lot of modules, custom eraser components, like charts, mapping, what else, build grid, master detail, and a lot of custom models. So it will be interesting for you to check it out anyway, just for educational purposes. Yeah, I will just show you some examples. Like here you can see chart list editor, you can see PDF viewer, some custom property editors. So check it out. Now I wanted to talk a little bit about yeah, it finally loaded. Let me yeah, for example, you can see some chart integration, build grid, some filters. Okay, let me skip this part because Zoom slows things down a lot. Let me just demonstrate you that you can log off and log in as a user of the first tenant. I just remembered the name of a user and just will show you that it will open a user-specific UI which doesn't have, for example, admin panel with roles, users, so we can just see customer information, and that's it. And I want to emphasize that this tenant it's isolated from company 2, for example. So it's secure, and you shouldn't worry about losing your data, exposing it accidentally. And it's a big difference, for example, when some of you, I think some of you may remember, we have another popular example on GitHub that shows how to separate data between different organizations or departments. And this example is based on security permissions, on object permissions and member permissions in particular. And multi-tenancy model provides a built-in solution for scenarios when you want to have the separation not at the application level, but at the database level. Yeah. Let me finish my demonstration and return to my presentation. I wanted to talk a little bit about our future plans for 2024, and also comment on some differences from the first preview in 23.1. People who tested this preview remember that we have, for example, a function. We had an option to select a tenant on the Aragon form. Then you could select your user. We intentionally removed this function in 23.2, but we are more than happy to consider it in future versions if we have sufficient user demand. Also, we're considering, as I mentioned earlier, considering to return to research a scenario when tenants are sharing the same database. Also, we want to research an option of switching tenants from inside your application UI, like a single chat section or something like that. And again, we want to support web API service, middle tier security. And of course, it's interesting for us to make certain XAF features and modules tied to a specific demand. And licensing, yeah, we want to finalize the terms here, again, based on user feedback. And I want to repeat that user feedback plays an important role in how we evolve this module in the future. And I ask you to contact us in the DevExpress Support Center, describe your requirements in detail, share your screenshots of expected results. Also, I know that many of our customers already implemented some custom solutions. And if you share your reference implementations and screenshots from samples, it will help you to make sure that our future versions will better meet your requirements. So it's a win-win situation for both parties, because you can potentially migrate from your custom solution to our built-in module and save on maintenance costs a lot. So please contact us in the support center and provide as much details as you can, so we can act on them. Because it's, as you know, we are all programmers, we are all dealing with clients, and it's very difficult to act on generic information because it's just not actionable. Well, I think that's it for my part. I will just show you a link to our survey. It's available in our GitHub example here. So I'm ready to answer your questions, I think.
Hey, Dennis, let's come back to the same question that everyone does nowadays: XPO versus Entity Framework. They are asking if there is a preferred recommended ORM for the multi-tenancy.
For multi-tenancy, it actually does not matter because both are equally supported. And I think the question is more about starting new projects, for example. And some of you may remember that we have a big article in our online documentation where we provide some guidance to users who can decide on this yet. And still there you can see a section that devoted to existing XPO users. And I want to emphasize that if you find XPO working great for you, I think there is no reason to migrate to Entity Framework curve. So if you are happy with XPO, just continue using it. And what else I can say?
I just will add that we are definitely staying in XPO unless needed. If there is a new project or a client that he has a team that is more skilled, his skill is more in the Entity Framework side, we definitely go and jump to Entity Framework. But if it's our choice, we'll stay still in XPO. Too many years and too many good things that XPO has. So it's hard for us to not see that. All right, there are a few other questions that we have been kind of answering, like if there is possible to have only one database for all tenants, and we just saw in your presentation that's something that we have in the future plans to of this multi-tenant model, that depending on the feedback that we get, of course. And of course, I think that we saw it in your presentation. There are a couple more things, like for example, having a shared table between tenants. Let's say that you have a tenant that they will share some type of, like they will share customers because they have different locations and they have everything separate, but they have like a table that is common. And we have done that in the past. So I think that the path that this multi-tenant model is taking is really, really nice, and will definitely, when in the future, we'll be moving from our custom implementation that we have right now, starting with how to change connection as runtime. We'll get to this point. So there is a question. There is another question about how can we switch tenant via URL like tenant1.myapp.com and it goes to the tenant one?
Yeah, absolutely. Our multi-tenancy module has a mechanism for resolving tenants, and currently it's defaulted to login by email, but you can just implement a custom tenant resolver. Technically, it's you can just create a class that implements a certain interface and provide you can obtain your required context, for example, your current URI, and you can resolve a tenant based on this information. And that's it.
Nice. I also want to mention that one thing that I like a lot is the documentation about how to convert an existing application, because that way you have already an app that you want to start using in this approach. You basically add the dependencies, and you have here the nuggets that you need, add the connection string, add a couple lines on the startup, and basically modify the object space provider, and from then the updater, and you're good to go. We can actually take a look at the app. This was exactly as Dennis did, create new project, add multi-tenancy, and if you see, we have here the tenant by email resolver that you can also use the user name, or you can actually create your custom tenant resolver and you do it, you resolve yourself. And then basically right here we have, if we this the multi-tenants module, add multi-tenants, and what is going to be the host connection string. So it's so we don't have to set up too much to actually compare an application to that one. In the updated, we can see here what we're setting up our tenants, and we can actually come here and see our tenant provider that we're going to give us our ID or our name. And that's pretty much it. I think that it's really, really up to the point. So I'm really excited about this. And this and opposite of the version that we have before that is actually running the DB chooser on runtime, and basically here getting the AI connection string provider and changing the connection string and so on. So I was going to actually do a file new project and do the whole multi-tenancy, but I think that Dennis also covered it. So I think that we should leave it here. I don't know if Ocho or Dave want to mention anything, but I think that we covered most of the multi-tenants that we want. And I'm excited.
Yeah, thank you for additional overview of the code. I wanted to mention some another important thing for people who are planning to migrate to our new module. It's important to consider that, as I demonstrated, a multi-tenancy module technically has several databases. So if your existing code has some, for example, some static data layers, some connection to a single database, this code must be reviewed and refactored to consider multiple database scenario. That's actually what we faced ourselves when we implemented this module, and we have to modify a lot of our tests, and still there are additional scenarios which we have to cover, because data layer, for example, if we talk about XPO for data access in data layer, it also linked to XP dictionary, so information, metadata about your business objects, and you also have to think that you have to consider not to have static access in your code to this information, and that's part of our resolving these things and making them easier for people. It's part of our long-term vision for next year.
I have one question that will only affect me. How will this affect the DB updater?
DB updater?
Each tenant will be created as new if they don't exist, or what is the schema conflict, that event, for example, that used to happen in a staff application, that okay, the schema does not exist or is not equal.
Yeah, I understand the question. I think the module itself creates the database. So when you create a tenant in your host interface, the next time, and you create some predefined users in module updater, the time you log in as a user from this tenant, the module automatically creates the database for you. That's how it works now.
Thanks.
The only one thing that I will maybe modify here a little bit, I'm not sure that we did this for a customer in the past, and they were not actually too happy to have the connection stream directly on the database like that. So basically, I will do something about that, but everything else looks very good.
Yeah, thanks for your suggestion. I also found an interesting question from Dave. It's about XPO. I think, yeah, for XPO, yeah, we can kind of call it maintenance mode because, for example, we are not creating new large features for it. We still continue fixing bugs in XPO as we always did in the last years. So you can check what's new yourself and see that we constantly we also adapt XPO to new .NET versions, .NET 6, .NET 7, .NET 8 right now. And yeah, as for the rest, except for modules, we focus on EF Core because we want to make it as usable as XPO is for XAF. And that's it.
I love XPO, so that would be a hard thing for me to change. But I think that would be it for today's meetup. I think that we covered the multi-tenants module. I think that it's looking really good. Please, everyone, get feedback about it. I think that after we get more feedback, if the DevExpress thing actually move forward with it, we all are going to benefit from it because there are a lot of clients that they benefit from this multi-location, multi-division, multi-site. So that's definitely the way to go. Anything else before we wrap up? Dave, Dennis?
Jose, yeah, I wanted to make some promotion for people who maybe are not exploring our documentation often. So just wanted to share my screen and demonstrate some new interesting topics. It's about deployment.
Nice.
By the way, I briefly touched it during my presentation when we talked about scalability. I mean, for multi-tenancy model, it's the same as it was last year. I mean, for Blazor, for example. So we haven't done anything to support, for example, thousands of users, and you can see a section in documentation about it, and some tips. And also, I wanted to promote this updated section in our deployment docs. We have published 3 large topics for Blazor deployment. First one is about deployment to different Linux versions like Ubuntu, Red Hat, etc. And here you can see just step-by-step instructions, all the commands, all the solutions to some unclear things or specifics of like databases of ASP.NET Core itself, Linux. So I recommend you check it out, and I hope that things will be easier for you. We also published the same topic for Azure. I think it's less problematic than Linux, but we still published it as an exception because we don't usually do this because it's like 80% of this topic is devoted to standard Microsoft technologies, but we still had users who experienced issues with Azure deployment, and we decided to simplify their lives. And also for on-premise scenario, it's all good. Internet information server is. So have the center here. And of course, we have documentation for. We have a list of typical problems and solutions. So it's located under deployment troubleshooting guide. So definitely check it out. It's also for not only for Blazor but for WinForms, WebForms. And that's it, I think. Thank you.
No, thank you, Dennis. The documentation is really, it has been improved a lot, and always referring everyone to it, so everyone can see that most of the things that we have questions basically are already covered in the documentation. So if we know where to look for, we will find the answer right there. So there is a comment about like if you adopt the multi-tenants module right now, or then the licensing change, how will that affect them?
Normally, when you buy a developer's license, it lasts for 12 months by default, and its terms are not changed during that period of time. And I also want to emphasize that first I even don't remember the last time we changed prices for developer's components, and even when we did so in the far past, we always made sure that our existing customers have the best conditions or options. I mean, like additional months or discounts or whatever. So I doubt that it will change. I mean, I doubt that these conditions will change in 2024. So you, if you have an active universal subscription, it lasts for 12 months, and you can be sure that it doesn't change during that period of time. As for the rest, I think it's not specific to DevExpress, but for any software in any business, everything is subject to change, especially considering the situation in the world markets, hyperinflation, whatever. So I think it's the same questions you can ask yourself and for your clients. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I think that will be it. Hey, Danny, thanks a lot for joining us out today and give us a good overview of the multi-tenants modules. I invite everyone to jump on it and test it. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Hoche. Thank everyone for joining in and for being part of the community. And we'll see you next month with some SAF UI beautiful screenshots. All right.
Thank you for
inviting. Thanks, everyone.